Yeah! The Philadelphia 76ers win a drama-free one. They win comfortably. No drama at the end. No blown lead. No Pat Spencer going off in the fourth quarter. That's what happened against the Warriors the other night. A drama-free one tonight. They hold on to their lead for the most part and put away the terrible, terrible Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm not sure if they were missing some other players, but either way, the Bucks without Giannis are bad. Doc Rivers showed that he is actually worse at coaching basketball than Nick Nurse. And Paul George had himself a game and played over 30 minutes in this one. Podcast P logs in a 30-minute game. He's going to need a month-long vacation after that one. These post-game live shows are brought to you by our friends at Bright Medical Technology. Bright Medical Technology is the largest medical supplier and pharmacy in Pennsylvania. Specializing in oral nutrition and tube feeding supplies, incontinence supplies, ambulatory aids, respiratory products, and diabetic supplies. They work with most PA insurance companies and can deliver anywhere in Pennsylvania. They offer hand delivery services or UPS solutions, servicing patients from all ages. Their call staff speaks 15 languages and is always live, never an automated system. Don't forget they have generic ED meds. If you are unsure where to get your health supplies, call Bright Medical today, 215-725-MEDS. That's 215-725-6337, or go to brightmedi.com. Thank you to Bright Medical for sponsoring Sixers postgame live on Run It Back Philly all season long. Let's get down to business, man. Sixers win 116-103. And they again were up by 20 points in the first quarter. This is the Bucks without Giannis. When you really look at this roster, the Bucks roster I'm talking about, who's really doing anything? And so the Sixers, even without Joel Embiid, without Kelly Oubre, without Trendon Watford, having Maxey, Paul George, McCain, Grimes, Barlow, Jabari Walker, Andre Drummond, Adembona, they should have taken care of business in this game, and they did. They were up by 20 points in the first half. I think in the first quarter. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But they did have a 20-point lead. Now, I want to let you know, for those that didn't watch this game, they did manage to lose the third quarter and the fourth quarter, by the way. I had a poll at halftime that said, will the 76ers lose the third quarter? Because they lose every third quarter they play in. At least they're not completely blowing the game in the third quarter at this point. They lost the third quarter to the Warriors by 8 points. They didn't blow the whole lead in the third quarter against the Warriors. They blew the whole lead in the fourth quarter. This game, they lose the third quarter by 4 points. So not as bad as against the Warriors, because the Bucks don't have the living legend Pat Spencer on the team. They lose the third quarter by 4 in this one. They lose the fourth quarter by 1. They managed to squeak out 23 entire points in the third and in the fourth. But I think the story of the game is that the Bucks are bad. Doc Rivers is a terrible coach. And the 76ers played really good defense in this game a lot of times. Sometimes bad, right? Bobby Portis going on those runs where he knocked down 2 or 3 threes in a row. You know, the Sixers do that thing where they leave the same guy open for like 4 possessions in a row, and they're like, hey, are we going to start to maybe switch something up and defend this guy? But I would say for the most part, the Sixers played really good defense. They played hard, and Paul George had a lot to do with that. I guess what we're going to start the game out with talking about Podcast P, okay? Because we do got to give him his flowers. Now, if he could continue to play basketball and play several games a week, right? Play maybe 2 games in 3 days or something. So we'll see. We'll see if Podcast P, after logging in, 30 plus minutes, we'll see if he takes a month-long vacation or not. let's just go to the stats here, man. Nice little laid-back post-game show for you here on a Friday night. Also a back-to-back, not just for the 76ers, a back-to-back for myself and 76ers fans. So, you know, I also feel a little bit tired. Tyrese Maxey looked tired out there today. Paul George, 30 minutes, logs in 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, was a +7. And I'm going to say the same thing I always say about Paul George, man. When he's healthy and playing, he's really, really good at basketball, you know? And it's so nice to have a player out there who, on a back-to-back when Tyrese Maxey's looking gassed, can take the ball and look confident with the ball in his hands. And you just sense that level of just experience and, like, you know, I know what I'm doing type of vibe when Paul George has the ball in his hands. He's such a good ball handler for his size. You never really worry that he's going to have a bunch of bad turnovers or anything like that. Cough, cough, Quinton Grimes. He's just a solid, reliable player when he's on the floor, right? And he went on a nice little run in the fourth quarter. Pretty much the entire fourth quarter, Paul George was running the show. A couple of times, they tried to get Maxey involved and run a set for Maxey, and Maxey just looked like he did not have it tonight. He had it last night. He's had it every game so far this season. He's played in every game this season. Tyrese Maxey deserves a break. Give him 3 days off, you know. Tell him he has a sore ankle or something. Tyrese Maxey definitely looked tired tonight, but shout out to Podcast P for stepping up tonight, especially in the fourth quarter, in the not absence of Tyrese Maxey, but the absence of Tyrese Maxey's energy that we usually have. Podcast P took over, and they really ran the whole offense through Paul George in the fourth. Had a couple of possessions in a row where he really just took over by himself. ISO mid-range jumpers on whoever was ISOing him, Jericho Sims, maybe Kevin Porter Jr., had a little back and forth with Kevin Porter Jr. in the fourth quarter where Kevin Porter was trying to go at him. Paul George had to let him know who was boss on the other end of the floor when he just pulled up in his grill, little mid-range jumper for you. Here you go. Don't forget, you are Kevin Porter Jr. I am Paul George. And yeah, Paul George, played a great game. Defensively also, a lot of good defensive possessions from Paul George. There's one that was a fast break that really, like, when the game was getting out of hand. You know, because the Sixers did blow the lead. Let's not act like they didn't. They were up by 20 at halftime. They won the game by 15, but it did get down to 9 points at one time. And at that time, Bobby Portis had a steal and a fast break. And Paul George, he's 35, he can't really jump anymore, but he still has such a high basketball IQ and good size that he gets his body in the right spot to make the shot difficult, and Bobby Portis misses the layup. I just wanted to point that out. Paul George, even at this age, is still very good defensively because he has such a high basketball IQ. His facilitating was great also. He's always been an underrated facilitator. A couple of swings on the perimeter. One of the plays in the fourth quarter where the Bucks brought a double team. He had Jericho Sims ISO again, right? And the Bucks finally straight double team because Paul George was going to cook Jericho Sims again. And he's right when they bring the double, just one-handed dish over to VJ Edgecombe, wide open three. Another clutch three for VJ Edgecombe. Something's in that kid's blood. He has a clutch gene, man. He really does. And VJ hits that three. But Paul George was the Paul George that we signed up for tonight. Scoring, handling the rock, taking the pressure off of Tyrese Maxey, facilitating, playing defense, all of that. We just sit here and ask ourselves, can we get this consistently from Paul George? And, we'll see. We'll see. Quinton Grimes gave us 22 points in this game, and I have never seen a player be as good and as bad at the same exact time as Quinton Grimes, man. You love him and you hate him at the same time. 5 turnovers for Quinton Grimes in 29 minutes, and he was hitting threes. And a lot of times there was runs where he hit big time threes right when you needed it. So you're like, yes, Quinton Grimes, right? But then he dribbles the ball and you're like, no, Quinton Grimes. He had 3 turnovers in the first quarter, Quinton Grimes did. For some reason, he, gets ahead of himself, puts his head down, and dribbles the ball off his face, it looks like, 5 times a game. But then he had some really clutch buckets, some and one drives. He had a 4-point play in the fourth quarter that was big time. So kind of shout out to Quinton Grimes and the hell with Quinton Grimes at the same time. I can't decide. He makes me happy and pisses me off at the same time. Tyrese Maxey, 12, was a plus 16. Not a good Tyrese Maxey game, but he just looked tired. And, we can't. I'm still going to say, dude, there will be no Tyrese Maxey slander out here. If you say anything negative, you're just a hater. The dude has played every game this season. He's averaging the most minutes per game in the NBA. He's sitting there on the sideline with ice on his shoulder because, remember, a couple of games ago, he was listed questionable with a sprained shoulder. So he's even playing through injury. I mean, if there's one guy that deserves to have a rest night, it's Tyrese Maxey. But you know why he's out there? Because he has that Allen Iverson vibe to him, bro. And you know what that vibe is? The team tells him, hey, listen, man, we know your shoulder's sore. You've been leading the league in minutes. You can sit tonight. Just let us know. We'll put you on the injury report with the shoulder. You can sit. And he says, no, I'm not sitting. I'm playing because I love playing basketball. You couldn't, Allen Iverson, bro, there's a story where they had to take his jersey. They took his shoes, and he sent an assistant down the street to Foot Locker to buy him new shoes. He was still trying to play in the game. He just has that mentality to me. So he was still out there, sore shoulder and all, and just didn't have anything in the tank. A couple of ISOs in the fourth quarter where he had no burst off the dribble. So shout out to Podcast P again for picking up the slack, because really without Paul George in this game, the Sixers probably lose, and the Bucks are bad. The Bucks are bad. Speaking of Milwaukee, I want to ask this question, and I know it's Doc Rivers, but last game against the 76ers, Ryan Rollins was running the show, and he was cooking the 76ers the entire game. Ryan Rollins looked like a superstar against this team the last time the Sixers played them. And tonight, for some reason, Doc Rivers runs the entire offense through Kevin Porter Jr., bro. If I was a Bucks fan, I would be so angry at Doc Rivers right now, because Kevin Porter Jr. had the ball in his hands for 37 minutes and shot 38% from the field and was a minus 20 and had 4 turnovers. Kevin Porter Jr. has the size of an NBA player and the brain of my local high school gym teacher. He's just bad, and he can't shoot. Terrible basketball IQ. I can't figure out for the life of me why Doc Rivers will be running his entire offense through Kevin Porter Jr., but it's Doc Rivers. It helped the 76ers win the game. If you want to say Nick Nurse outcoached Doc Rivers, I guess. I feel like Doc Rivers undercoached Nick Nurse in this one, to the point where we got a Kevin Porter airball mid-range jumper in the final seconds. Just a disaster. The Milwaukee Bucks are. I cannot believe they hired Doc Rivers. Incredible stuff that they hired Doc Rivers at, what were they that season? When, what's his name was the coach before they fired him? Adrian Griffin, is that his name? And they fired him, and they were, I think, 13-5 at the time, or 13-3 or something crazy. They hired Doc Rivers, immediately tanked. Now they're a terrible team. Giannis wants a trade. It's a complete disaster. How in the world did they make the decision to hire Doc Rivers after his stint with the Clippers and the Sixers? Unbelievable decision by the Bucks owners, and they are bad because of it. And really, if you think about it, You know, I saw a special on ESPN talking about Milwaukee's economy and how much having Giannis Antetokounmpo on the Bucks helps the city of Milwaukee economically by just bringing people into the city. If you really think about it, Doc Rivers not only ruined the Milwaukee Bucks, he ruined the city of Milwaukee. Oh, man, there's nothing more fun than Doc Rivers slander for me because it's just so easy. Back to the Sixers, man. Jabari Walker was huge in the beginning of the game. Shout out to Jabari Walker. He went on a run where he hit like 3 or 4 threes in a row. He was hustling, grabbing boards, diving on the floor, and one putback, all that stuff. Straight, just hard-nosed utility forward, Jabari Walker. Him and Dominic Barlow were amazing signings by Nick Nurse. And I'm pretty sure they're both on 2-way contracts. And they're both 22 years old. So big-time pickups, Jabari Walker and Dominic Barlow, as utility guys with size who can rebound. Walker can shoot. Dominic Barlow cannot shoot. But I'm happy both of those guys are on the team. Jared McCain. Now listen, Jared McCain only had 8 points in the game. And he couldn't really buy a bucket. It was just one of those nights for him. A couple of wide-open threes that he missed. Mid-range jumpers he was missing. He was 3 for 10 from the field, 2 for 8 from 3. But Jared McCain was running point guard in the second unit, and I liked it a lot, and I'm happy Nick Nurse started to do it because you see what I've been saying. Jared McCain is a point guard. There's order, right? There's a hierarchy when he's on the floor. It looks like an organized basketball game when he's on the floor. He's secure with the ball in his hands. He knows what he's doing, and he creates offense. And he moves the rock, and he gets to his own shot. I love Jared McCain as the backup point guard. I don't love Jared McCain and Maxey on the floor together because Jared McCain can't defend anybody. Now, I don't know if it's just Jared McCain coming back from the knee injury or if he could never guard anybody because he's too small, but so far this season, Jared McCain's return has been terrible defensively, which is why I say don't have him out there with other small guards. Leave it to Nick Nurse. This guy had him out there with not just Tyrese Maxey, not just Quinton Grimes on the floor, but oh yeah, Kyle Lowry, guys. Nick Nurse found a way to play his stepson Kyle Lowry extended minutes in this game alongside other small guards, and the Bucks are so bad that it didn't kill them too much. They did lose the third quarter and the fourth quarter, but they held on to win the game. Against any other team, that's not going to work. You know that's not going to work. But I am happy Nick Nurse is playing Jared McCain basically at backup point, letting him run the show. I don't know why he has Kyle Lowry out there with him, but I do want to credit Kyle Lowry in this game because he has a veteran presence. He's such a basketball mind. He's such a facilitating mind on the floor. It really is hard to be angry at Kyle Lowry. It's hard to not like Kyle Lowry. You know what I mean? Nice guy. You can tell he's a fun guy to be around. Funny dude. Everybody loves him. And when he's on the floor, he's just... There was a play where he passed the ball to Paul George or VJ, I don't remember who, and then pointed in the corner to McCain. He's legitimately running the offense while giving the ball to somebody else. You can see Kyle Lowry's basketball IQ. Now, physically, he can't play anymore. But I have to admit, it is fun sometimes when he gets on the floor because he's such a smart basketball player. And if he scores, everybody's going to celebrate because he's 40 years old and shouldn't be out there. And he did score. He hit a corner three, and the Sixers bench went nuts, and Quinton Grimes is giving him the finger guns. But, I guess, look, the Kyle Lowry being on the floor tonight didn't destroy the 76ers, probably because the Bucks are so bad. When I say the island of misfit toys, that's what the Bucks are at this point. Gary Trent Jr., Kyle Kuzma, Kevin Porter Jr., who got kicked out of the Cavaliers for trashing the locker room back in the day. Like, who are these players? What is this team, you know? Just a random bunch of throwaways. They might as well go sign Jordan Poole at this point. I do have a little bit of a fear that Kyle Lowry looking serviceable for 10 minutes is going to make Nick Nurse think that he should play him more. And he will find out very quickly that should not happen if he does that. I do wonder why Justin Edwards was essentially a DNP. Even with Kyle Lowry looking okay out there and hitting a shot and everybody's celebrating, I would still much rather have Justin Edwards on the floor for his size over Kyle Lowry. So the 10 minutes for Lowry and 0 minutes for Justin Edwards was interesting to me. Now, you see how he was a -2. You guys might wonder how that's possible. He was actually on the floor for less than a minute at the very end of the game, and the Bucks scored a bucket. So Justin Edwards is a -2 in 0 minutes, thanks to Nick Nurse. But, yeah, so, you know, shout out to that. Shout out to Lowry. Adem Bona, I thought, had some stints of really good defense. 10.6 rebounds, was a +9. Realistically, not a whole lot to take away from this game because the Bucks are horrendous, but Tyrese Maxey tired on a back-to-back. Paul George gives you 20 points in 30 minutes. Paul George is probably going to take a month-long vacation after logging 30 whole minutes of basketball tonight. And the Sixers win essentially because Doc Rivers is worse than Nick Nurse, and that is impressive, if you ask me. Let's go over to the chat. Whatever you want to say in the chat, hot takes, questions, concerns, ideas, whatever it is, Sicko Nation. The rest of the show is on you. I will react to the chat. Sicko Sound Off, we call it. Now, that's the phone line. Anyway, we'll call it Sicko Sound Off anyway, but it is brought to you by DraftKings. Right now on DraftKings, if you use promo code RUNITBACK and bet $5 and your bet wins, you will get $300 in bonus bets and 3 free months of NBA League Pass. All you got to do is go to DraftKings Sportsbook, sign up for DraftKings using promo code RUNITBACK. Bet $5. If your bet wins, $300 in bonus bets, 3 free months of NBA League Pass. Thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook for sponsoring the channel also. And speaking of betting, people in the chat were saying that you should bet the Paul George under. And Paul George scored 20 points. So that's what we would call a bad beat. If you watch Paul George so far this season, and he had stints, right, of looking good, but then he would sit, and he was on a minutes restriction. I don't know if he's still on when he played 30 minutes in this game, but if you bet the Paul George under because he's been on a minutes restriction all season, hasn't played any fourth quarters, and he comes out here, plays 30 minutes, and has 20 points, that's what I call a bad beat. Who's in here on a Friday night? Where are my members at, man? I don't see any members in the chat. Everybody went to bed. E-Train9 is in the chat. Doc's a Hall of Fame coach. Amazing. Nah, I don't consider him a Hall of Fame coach. It is odd how he's so highly ranked, you know, amongst like the sports world. But then we saw him coach in Philadelphia, and we were like, wait a minute. This guy's actually terrible. We got Aussie Sicko is in the house. Echo4186. What you guys got in the chat, man? Throw something at me. Aussie is mowing the lawn down in Australia. Run it back, Philly. It is 11 o'clock p.m. here in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And you are in Australia mowing your grass, listening to my post-game show. It's just, it really does amaze me every time I think about how crazy that is. How crazy the internet is. In your honest opinion, do you think we're beating the Lakers next game? Sixers play the Lakers what, Sunday? Let's look at it, bro. Let's go over to the schedule. Let's go over to Sixers, NBA. Let's go over to the schedule. Let's look at it because we got to decide, first of all, if Joel Embiid is going to play, right? I don't even know actually if that affects whether we win or lose at this point because Joel Embiid looks like such a shell of himself and he needs to continue to ramp up and ramp up some more and ramp up some more. The Sixers have tomorrow off and they play the Lakers at 7:30 p.m. and that is in Philly. Do they beat the Lakers? It all depends, man, because also you don't even know who the hell's playing for the Lakers. The Lakers are so up and down, back and forth. LeBron out, LeBron in, Luka out, Luka in. It would depend who plays, to be honest with you. But let's say everybody plays, okay? Let's say we get real crazy and Paul George and Joel Embiid both play in this game against the Lakers on Sunday. And Luka Doncic and LeBron James both play in the game on Sunday. I think the Sixers win. Oh my God, did I just say that? Did I just say something positive about the 76ers? Best player this year for the Lakers has been Reeves. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, Austin Reeves is very good. But it's because of LeBron and Luka being out, in and out of the lineup so many times so far this year. We're not going to act like Austin Reeves is better than either of those guys. But what else we got in the chat, man? Yo, bro, I think you put too much pressure on the coach. It's the player's job to perform. Hell no, stop it, man. Stop it. It is the player's job to perform. It's the coach's job to put them in the right positions to perform and to have their mindset ready to perform, to push them. Coaching in the NBA is probably more difficult than coaching anywhere else because you have to motivate guys who have been in the league for 10 years and have made $500 million. How do you motivate those guys? Good coaches can still do that. Eric Spoelstra, Steve Kerr, you name it. Bad coaches, the players go out there sometimes and it looks like a pickup game. Here's the ball. Go shoot some hoops, man. Take it easy. No, a lot of pressure is on the coach, and it's very evident when a good coach is out there and when a bad coach is out there. And that's just my take on it. My $10 super chat during the game was because I lost the Paul George over-under. Happy holidays. So you lost the bet and then you super chatted me, bro? You lost extra money? But thank you for the super chat, man. Let's see what else we got, man. What else we got? If we had a fully healthy team, the Lakers game would be worth the watch. I agree with that, I think. Quinton Grimes can't dribble, worth a freak. I agree with that too. Turnover machine. When everybody's healthy, what's the closing lineup? Great questions in the chat, man. Thank you guys for contributing to the show. What's the closing lineup? It's a tough one, man. Nick Nurse has been going with, recently, Maxey, VJ, Grimes. Well, let's say this, because the closing lineup tonight was Maxey, VJ, Grimes, Paul George at the 4, either Jabari Walker or Adem Bona or Andre Drummond at the 5. So if Joel's out there, I'm guessing the closing lineup is Maxey, VJ, Grimes, Paul George, Embiid. And hopefully we will see on Sunday what that closing lineup is. Then whenever you get Kelly Oubre back, does he go back in the starting lineup or is he coming off the bench when you get Trendon Watford back? It's interesting, man. We won 4 out of the last 5 games. Are we back? Bro. If you really watch basketball and if you really just look at numbers like that and don't actually watch basketball, I'm not saying you do or don't. But But if you say the Sixers won 4 out of the last 5 games and you don't understand how bad they played in some of these games and how bad some of the teams were that they played, we're talking about the Washington Wizards without Alex Sarr, Chris Middleton. Who else? We're talking about the Golden State Warriors without Steph Curry, without Jimmy Butler. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis. Who did they play that didn't have Porzingis? They played the Atlanta Hawks without Trae Young, without Kristaps Porzingis, and got beat. They played the Orlando Magic without Paolo Banchero and got beat by 40. You know, and in this 4 out of 5, they played the Warriors without Steph and Jimmy. They beat now they beat the Bucks without Giannis. No. I mean none I don't really find any of these victories impressive. Especially not last night, blowing a 22-point lead to Pat Spencer and Quinton Post. I have to be honest, I don't find any of these victories impressive. If the Lakers have LeBron and Luka out there on Sunday, that'll be a decent test for what we really think about this team, I do believe. Embiid provides this team no value anymore outside of jump shooting. Really sad to see. We'll see. I guess he's still ramping up, man. I guess he's still ramping up. But you're not wrong about right now, what he looks like right now. It doesn't matter because us beating the teams we should at least shows our floor. Do you think that game against the Warriors last night was a moral victory? They won the game, but beating the teams we should, when you're up by 24 points and you get destroyed in the second half by the Warriors without Steph Curry, without Jimmy Butler, and Pat Spencer is bombing threes on you, screaming, "I'm that motherfucker," in your arena, it was embarrassing. I guess that's their floor. Blowing a lead to Pat Spencer is their floor, I guess. But I guess, you know, they won the game. It says something, right? Because the will of Tyrese Maxey and the athleticism of VJ Edgecombe willed them to victory. But I'm not impressed yet. I want to see against the Lakers on Sunday what they look like, man. Jarrett Newsom, my man, I'm going to have to recant that Joel Embiid apology. He's cooked. Damn, Jarrett, you went back on the apology already? He's cooked. Do you think we can get a payout for him? Oh, he has an extension that didn't start yet. You know that, right? He has a $180 million extension that starts next season that pays him $60, $65, and $69 million 3 years in a row. You think Josh Harris is writing a check for that much money? Man, hell no. Hell no. Do you think Justin Edwards deserves more minutes? Absolutely. I don't even know why he didn't get any minutes this year. NBA this year is a three-point contest more than ever, though, which is why the records are so clumped up. Look at teams like Cavs who have like same record as us, and they're underperforming like crazy. If you're a Cavs fan, you're not happy with what they look like right now. Vincent, I got to tell you the truth, man. I'm a little disappointed, man. This is very what do they call it? Deflecting or what do they call it when you're like whataboutism? They call it whataboutism, right? Yeah, well, we're bad, but like what about this team that's also bad? You know, that doesn't change the fact that the Sixers have been bad. Come on, man. I mean, you can be optimistic if you want to. What else we got, man? Let's do one more take in the chat, man. We'll keep this one short. Sixers win. It was a good win. It's a Friday night. It was a back-to-back. We all want to go to bed. We'll keep this one short, man. DMLJ Hoops, honestly, 12-9 is probably this team playing towards its ceiling. Yikes. Well, I understand what he's saying. It's their floor because if they get Joel Embiid back is rough because when you see him play, he's never going to get back to his MVP level. So it's like, oh, if we just get Embiid healthy, how are they going to do that? He gets on the floor and looks like an absolute shell of himself. And it's disheartening. It's sad. It honestly is. Hopefully Joel does the right thing and medically retires if he can't get his game back. I honestly feel bad for him. Because, like, he's still going out there. I mean, I guess I don't feel bad for him. He's made hundreds of millions of dollars, but he wants to play. He still goes out there and tries to play like once a week. And he's just cooked, bro. He's just so cooked. It's sad. Our last 5 losses are against 5 of the best playing teams in the conference right now. Yeah, you're right. We beat all the bad teams, and we lost to every good team. So how is that? You're not really making your argument right now. Hey, man, all I'm saying is we beat all the bad teams, and we lost to every good team. Yeah, that's not good. Vincent, you're going to learn something. I am and I might not always be right, but I have always been very good at arguing. And I will argue with you until I am blue in the face. I will make you give up. I have always been really good at arguing, dude. I used to love debate class in high school. Oh, sign me up. I get to do research and debate a topic against somebody else. I was in there cooking everybody. And my parents used to tell me I should be a lawyer because I just argue all the time. Anyway, man, thank you guys for coming through and hanging out tonight, man. Sixers win. It's a Friday night. Go enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Don't have a hangover in the morning. I love you so much. I will see you very soon. Sicko Nation, we're out. Do I play music on the exit?